Well, I guess it's time for me to finally review those 2012 movies I promised so long ago. So, my first Brettro review. That's right. Brettro's going back a whole 4.5 months to that year we were all supposed to disappear in the apocalypse. Well, let's look at the top 12 movies from 2012. Number 12, Prometheus. I've been a fan of the Alien saga for a long time, and I went into Prometheus expecting Ridley Scott's return to alien greatness. And it was that, and a bit more. It was very edgy, pseudo-philosophical, with enough plot holes to make it enjoyable to watch further on later on. I enjoyed it. You should have too. Number 11, The Dark Knight Rises. I know, given my vlog last year that I made, this should be higher on the list, but I've had some time to simmer on it, and I realized there are plenty of problems with it, just like Prometheus, but I'm still a huge Christopher Nolan fan. This movie did not ruin the Batman movies for me. In my opinion, they kind of solidified Christopher Nolan's prowess as a filmmaker, especially the way he handled Batman. He didn't make a traditional Batman movie, he made his Batman movie. And if you had a problem with that, well, I'm sorry. I'm not a purist. I can deal with someone else's vision for a little change. Number 10, possibly the most pretentious movie on the list, Cloud Atlas. I saw this film actually in January, and I was thrown by it. Not because of its deep philosophical themes, but more just the film as a whole worked really well as just a good story to watch. I look for three things when I go see most movies: a decent storyline, interesting characters, hopefully with a great soundtrack to back it all up with some neat visuals. And I was not disappointed in Cloud Atlas. That movie was thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. And you got to see Keith David as an Asian man. How often are you going to see that? Number 9. A break from the mostly serious action sort of fare. Ted from Seth MacFarlane. I'm not a huge fan of Family Guy, but I found this movie enjoyable because I went to see it with the audience it was meant for. I didn't go see it with a bunch of crotchety old people who are waiting to see the next Citizen Kane. I went to go see it with a lot of people who wanted to have fun and have a good laugh, and that's exactly what it gave me. I'm not the hugest Marky Mark fan, and I'll admit Family Guy has gone downhill, but you can tell why. It's because Seth MacFarlane has been given all his time to Ted, and that's what made it so damn funny. Number 8. This movie also kind of threw me. The Grey. I went in expecting a simple action movie where Liam Neeson punches wolves for an hour and a half. What I really didn't expect was a morose, melancholy thriller about death. It's not a survival movie. It's all about death. 7 guys survive a plane crash in the middle of Alaska, at least 40 kilometers from the nearest civilization, and they are slowly picked off one by wolves. Liam Neeson gives probably his most engaging performance I've ever seen in my life of watching him. He deserved an Academy Award nomination, or at least a Golden Globe in my opinion, because he was really, really good as the lead. Very, very good. Number 7, Looper. I just discovered Rian Johnson last year. If you haven't, please go watch Brick. Brick is hands down my second favorite crime drama of all time. It's just so darn impressive. And I had high hopes for Looper, and it really did not disappoint. I was expecting a simple, like The Grey, I was expecting a simple action thriller where Joseph Gordon-Levitt fights off Bruce Willis. But I didn't expect the thoroughly engaging narrative of Looper. I don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it, so please, if you can, go and see this movie. It is really impressive. Kind of bloody and a bit scary at times, but really, really darn good. Check it out. Number 6, Moonrise Kingdom. No doubt the most quirky, well, actually the second most quirky movie on the list. Wes Anderson is a different filmmaker. He's not exactly Steven Spielberg, but he has a very unique design style about him. And this movie was basically his take on the Boy Scouts meets puppy love. And my God, is it entertaining. How many other movies can you name where you see Edward Norton save Harvey Keitel from an exploding tent? None. Watch this movie. Number 5. This is no doubt the most fun time I had at the theater. Dread. Oh, Dread. Oh. Everyone complains about it because there's no plot. The plot is simple. Judge Dredd and his new apprentice are stuck inside a high-rise building with the entire population of Murder Town installed. He fights his way out. What more do you want? This movie was the comic book movie I have been waiting for since Dark Knight. A standalone film that has enough action to please anyone and enough sweet visual and special effects to make me rethink what makes a film artistic. You must see this movie before you die if you know me. Period. Number 4, Django Unchained. The second most fun time I had at the theater, but this one is a loving homage to the spaghetti western, and it's probably got the scariest Leonardo DiCaprio performance I've ever seen in my life. This blows his Howard Hughes impression out of the water. Tarantino knows how to make a good movie, an entertaining one at least. Sure, it's controversial, but it has a kickin' soundtrack, and Samuel L. Jackson is present. Need I say more? Also, Christoph Waltz. Ka-ching! Number 3. Why didn't this movie win the Best Animated Feature Award? Oh yeah, that's right, because Pixar bought out the whole Academy. Paranorman. This movie, I thought, looked stupid. First of all, because I mistook who was voicing the lead. I saw the name Cody Smith McPhee, and I thought at first, is that Will Smith's kid? God dang it. I don't care about your kid, Will Smith. Keep him out of movies. We don't care. But no, it was a different kid. It was the kid who starred in The Road with Viggo Mortensen. I was like, huh. And then I started seeing reviews for this movie, and it got great reviews. I thought, well, that's interesting. So I took a couple friends to go see it, and we had a blast. This is a better family film than The Goonies. I know a lot of you will start throwing things at me, but please don't. Please watch the movie first, and then tell me whether or not I am wrong. Paranorman is better than The Goonies. It is a perfect family film. It has great characters, brilliant comedy, enough horror to make it also work as an homage to 80s horror films, which it does perfectly. And it's just so darn fun and enjoyable. Please watch this film. Number 2. This one should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me. Skyfall. Skyfall was a near perfect film in my opinion. You all will go nitpick like, the hacking's not accurate and all that. I don't care. I don't look for much logic in Bond films anymore. I look for an enjoyable experience with clever villains and a lot of action. That's what I got with Skyfall. And even more, it was beautifully shot. The scenes in Shanghai. Why didn't this movie win the Best Cinematography Award? Why? Ugh! Before I get to my number 1, my favorite film of the year was not a feature film. So I will technically give you my favorite film of last year first, and then I'll give you my favorite feature film of all time. So technically the one after this is my second favorite film, but this one is my hands down favorite film of last year. Paperman. Those of you who went to go see Wreck-It Ralph and saw the short beforehand, it's basically take the opening silent sequence from Up, but make it take place in modern day and only takes place over the span of a day. It is a perfect little short film. Look for that one. It should be on YouTube. I believe you have to pay for it, though, but look for Paperman. It's great. And my favorite feature film of last year, those of you who know me really well already know what my favorite film of the year is. So, here's out with it. Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. It's Daniel Day-Lewis working with Steven Spielberg on a movie about Abraham Lincoln, with Tommy Lee Jones and James Spader. There is nothing wrong with this movie. Absolutely nothing. Nothing, I say. The screenplay, perfect. The cast, perfect. The editing, just the way it moves gracefully through the last 4 months of Lincoln's life. Perfect. There's nothing wrong with this movie. Please watch it if you haven't already. That's all I can say. Lincoln. Thank you for tuning in to watch my first Brettro review. I'm Brett, and I'll see you around, folks.